watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Hello, and welcome to GHS-TV's award-winning talk show, Crosstalk. I'm your host, Ternyce Anderson. Each week, we discuss topics important to our diverse community. With crime and violence at a peak in the city of Memphis, it's important to keep the youth of our city busy and preoccupied. Youth sports programs are a staple when it comes to keeping kids productive and off the streets. On today's Crosstalk, we'll speak with representatives from organizations with the same common goal: mentoring the young minds of Memphis. To start us off, we have Memphis Athletic Ministries. Founded in 1998, Memphis Athletic Ministries exists to coach and lead the youth of Memphis through organized sports and academic programs. Here to give us more insight on the goals of MAB is Chief Operations Officer Brandis Leverett.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I would like to start off this interview with you giving us a brief backstory of how the organization was founded.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned it just a second ago. Memphis, with some of the crime rates and things that happen with the youth, there was an organization, or there is an organization called the Memphis Leadership Foundation, and three guys and a local pastor, Kelvin Bowen, Larry Lloyd, and some other guys. One day said, hey, what could we do to try to mitigate some of that happening in the city? So they decided to say, hey, we're going to partner with the city. We're going to open up some facilities and gyms just to let kids have somewhere safe to go. So, of course, that was back in 97, 98. So we're talking 20 plus years now that we've been doing that, and things have changed over the years. But that's originally how the idea came about.
You all have a mission and a vision that you strive for. How do you execute it?
Yeah, so the execution of our mission and vision, and you mentioned a bit of it, what it was, but honestly, our whole goal is to share the love of Jesus Christ through sports, using sports. So we primarily, throughout the course of the whole year, we focus around 5 primary sports. Of course, one of which is basketball, which is like our logo. But we also do flag football. We do volleyball. We've engaged in soccer. And soon we'll be hovering around some kickball and some dodgeball, but just using sports as the draw to attract people to come do work with us. But in that, so we have an after-school program that we operate. We partner with Shelby County schools, Catholic schools, charter schools, neighborhood schools. So our 7 sites that we have open right now, from 2 o'clock to about 8 o'clock, students are welcome to come from ages 8 to 18. It's absolutely free. It's not childcare, but you know that your kids are being cared for. We have staff, full-time, part-time staff, who are there delivering different curriculums and programs, from literacy to high school, career, college development. And then we also offer from that sports leagues throughout the year. Those various sports, like right now, we're in our spring season of doing basketball and volleyball. So many of our kids who come to our after-school programs have an opportunity on our sports programs and our sports teams as well. We have volunteers from throughout the community, various walks here, coaching and mentoring our kids. So in addition to that, we have a mentoring program for our high school students, where many of them can work in, but also be paired with a caring and trusted adult to do a year-long mentoring program.
As you just mentioned, you have multiple locations throughout Memphis. How did you choose these locations?
Yeah, the locations were really chosen by need, but also by the opportunity for us to serve in the neighborhood. So we currently right now partner with the city of Memphis. Several years ago, there was 4 community centers that the city was looking to partner with somebody to come alongside to help keep them open. And then we have partnerships with some churches who have some gym space and some family worship space. center space that they've allowed us to come in and do programming for the community.
Do you notice a change in athletes when they come into the program and when they leave?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the biggest change is in character. Of course, we want every person who comes through our doors to get to know who Jesus is and prayerfully choose to walk with Christ. But that's not the case for everybody. But what we do notice is a character change. We notice changes for our kids as far as attendance in school and how they perform in school. We notice relationship changes as far as at home with their parents and how they treat their siblings. And so, yeah, there's a lot of those changes and more.
In kids, there's an untapped potential that's there. How do you bring that untapped potential to the surface?
Yeah, I think one of the main things is our staff is really good about listening to the kids. You know, we serve anywhere on any given day, 600 to 800 kids throughout the course of the year, thousands of kids. But it's those kids who come repeatedly that our staff develop a relationship with. And the first thing they do is they try to listen to them. They try to get an idea of some of the things they're interested in. And then we try to be the conduits to help them realize some of their dreams.
What are some upcoming events you all have going on?
Yeah, so we're going to finish out the school year here soon. We'll be done in May, but we'll take a week or two, and then we'll kick off our Summer Learning Academy, which is our summer program. It runs 8 full weeks. All the information is on our website. It's only $50 for the entire 8 weeks of the summer. We partner with the YMCA, who's going to provide food for us. And it's just going to be really, really fun. So there's going to be an academic element of it, but there's going to be field trips, there's going to be water days and cookouts and just all the fun, right? Sports, of course, sports as well.
Can people volunteer for this program? And if so, how?
Absolutely. We survive because of volunteers. And actually this month is Volunteer Appreciation Month. So they can just go to our website, which is mamsports.org. And right at the very top, you'll see just a link where you can click on volunteer. And it should spell out some opportunities for you to volunteer. You can volunteer as a coach. You can volunteer as an assistant coach. You can volunteer as a mentor. You can volunteer as a tutor. And then we always have just projects that are needing to be completed, from outdoor to indoor, painting projects, all those kind of things that sometimes folks who have large groups can come and volunteer for on kind of like a one-time basis. So we have the wide gamut of volunteer opportunities for people.
You also have job opportunities. What are the requirements for that?
Yeah, it depends on the job. So right now in hiring for our summer positions, we want to make sure that folks have graduated high school. And but of course, if you have some college degrees and things, those are very helpful. But we're hiring for our summer positions right now. So there will be summer part-time teachers and there will be summer part-time coaches. And, one of the biggest requirements is just being able to love on kids and being flexible. So that's really huge. If you come with that attitude, we can kind of work with everything else.
Well, Mr. Leverett, thank you so much for doing this interview with me.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing at Crosstalk and Germantown High, and hopefully one day we may get some kids out there to learn a little bit about what you guys are doing.
Yes, sir. If you would like to partner with Memphis Athletic Ministries, visit their website at mamsports.org. Next up, we'll speak with a nonprofit that's impacting Memphis teens one kick at a time.
Art is really an expression of the self. If you look at a piece of art, you can see the artist within it.
All just really depends on what I feel like doing at the time. I generally have different ideas every day.
I really get excited when my students come up to me with unique ideas that I've not heard of.
You can't let everybody tell you who you are or what your art is or how to be what you want to be.
I really let the students go according to how they're progressing, and I try to give them as much as they're able to handle.
Well, I like drawing a lot, and I like painting, and I like being able to improve my skill and show people my art.
I try to get them to think creatively. I think that's one of the few things that we as teachers really need to try to push with our students.
I can't sing. I can't act either, but I can do art, so that's why I chose art.
For more information about the Kappa program, visit ghskappa.com or call 755-7775. You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome back to Crosstalk. Founded in 2012, Memphis Inner City Rugby has been changing the lives of Memphis teens through a sport you don't commonly see in urban cities. Joining us today is co-founder of Memphis Inner City Rugby, Shane Young. Mr. Young, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate the opportunity.
Before you founded MICR, you were actually a teacher. So how did you go from teaching to being a rugby coach?
Well, actually, I became both at the same time. I played rugby growing up, and as soon as I arrived in Memphis after I graduated college in 2012 with Teach for America, so I was becoming a teacher, and pretty much in the first month of teaching, myself and my co-founder, Devin O'Brien, started the first boys rugby team, which at the time wasn't the foundation of Memphis Inner City Rugby. We didn't know we would fall backwards into leading a charity or forming a nonprofit or scaling the organization to reach more students in schools and areas of the city. But it was pretty much in the first month of becoming a teacher in Memphis. We also co-founded the organization without really knowing it at the time.
How did you convince your first set of athletes that this is something that they should be a part of?
Well, at our first two schools, it was kind of a different approach at each one. At one school, my co-founder, Devin, was a teacher at Kingsbury. And so we just used his position in the school as a teacher to get on the announcements and bring kids to his classroom for an interest meeting and offer them this, free opportunity to try something new. And those were really the founders of the organization because they took a chance on the strange sport and these strange guys who were Memphis transplants, talking to them about a word they've never heard before, rugby. And then at the next school, Power Center Academy, that was our first charter school partner. The principal, Dr. Hunter, who is now actually the chairman of our board at Memphis Inner City Rugby 10 years later, he kind of said, let's tell them it's a football program coming to the charter school because they didn't have football, and that's how we'll get them in the interest meeting. So he kind of helped us pull a little bait and switch by advertising a football meeting, and then we came in and showed a rugby video and said, actually, we're going to introduce rugby. And those young men are also what we consider some of the founders of the organization because they, had to deal with the bait and switch, but then really invested and dove into rugby and did some really special things with it.
Where do the athletes come from? And is it just a boy sport?
The athletes come from all over really South Memphis. We have programs in Westwood, Whitehaven, Hickory Hill, Orange Mound, in Southeast Memphis. So we're mostly in South Memphis. So they come from all those different neighborhoods I mentioned. And in 2015, girls at our school partners were noticing, their friends play the sport, always enjoy, the teams that they had. And the girls really kind of started knocking on the door and saying, what about us? Why not us? And before you knew it, we were trying to be responsive and, serve in a bigger way. So we started our first girls programs in 2015, and now almost half of the entire population of Memphis Inner City Rugby participants are girls.
MICR faced many challenges. Can you talk about these?
We have challenges every day. We're a grassroots charity, and so whether it's battling for funding and trying to make sure that we can keep the opportunity completely free for our students, bring them the transportation they need to get to and from practices and games, is a major challenge, especially with how spread out the city is, how far away our students might live from some of the fields they'll play at. And nutrition is a challenge. We need to make sure our students are well fed to play such a physically demanding sport. Maintaining healthy school partnerships as an external partner is a real big challenge to maintain year after year after year, especially through the pandemic with schools closing and staff turnover. And then our own staff, we have part-time coaches who are mostly MICR alumni now. So our graduates, they finish the program and they're either in college locally or at trade school, and they work as coaches for Memphis Inner City Rugby, coaching the very same teams that they helped pioneer when they were students. And they still have, challenges in their own lives, just as they did when they were children in our programs. And so maintaining them, training them, developing them, and retaining them year after year is a challenge. Just like in all of urban education right now, there's a lot of, substitute teachers running classrooms, far too many, because teachers are, for whatever reason, leaving the classroom or sort of switching careers. And so, we consider ourselves working in urban education as well. And so staff retention is another huge challenge. And just our program model is so intensive. We're year round. We play 7-on-7 rugby in the fall, 15-on-15 rugby in the spring, and then we have a really great summer program. And so just the endurance of, delivering that impact and making sure we're meeting the mark of our mission and listening to the students, being responsive to their needs, which are vast and great, and doing it all with high energy, just like we've tried to do since 2012. So it's a challenge every day. And we certainly pursue challenges at MICR. We don't run away from them.
Not only are you teaching people how to pass and tackle, you are also teaching them about life off the field.
That's right. And the sport will do that. It's such a physically demanding sport that, welcomes all shapes and sizes. And it really kind of strips you down to, accountability and, teamwork and collaboration. And you have to, carry a human if you want to be a rugby player, and also have this grittiness and brutality, to make sure you can push through an entire game and, make that tackle and, try to help your team win in the final, 10, 20 minutes of what's a very, demanding sport. So the sport does that itself, but then our coaches, they're trained in trauma-informed coaching. So many of our students experience, adverse childhood experiences and have struggles in their home lives, and have challenges that completely transcend what they do at rugby or what they do in school. And the communities we work in are so special. However, we believe that if we're going to ask students to give their time to this strange sport, we certainly have to give them something more than the sport. Like I mentioned before, transportation, nutrition, but also coaches who are trauma-informed, talented, qualified, trained to be good listeners, be good mentors, be responsive, be conscious of how to coach the player, but more so the person.
Mr. Young, thank you so much for doing this interview with me.
Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate you.
For more information on Memphis Inner City Rugby and what they are doing, visit their website at memphisinnercityrugby.org. When we come back, we'll speak with two representatives from a climbing community that is providing rehabilitation, healing, and a renewed sense of hope to challenge areas.
It's very fun to be in band, trust me. It's so much fun.
When I was an 8th grader and I saw them march, and I was like, wow, I need to be a part of this.
Our main performing group is the varsity band. That encompasses our marching band and our varsity concert band. We also have the jazz ensemble.
It's unique, so we're really lucky to have that.
I'm very methodical about teaching. I try to stay up to date because I want my students to have the best information that I can pass along to them.
He's excellent. He commands a sort of drive that we didn't exactly have.
I lead the class, but I also believe in the students self-assessing their work.
The leadership is led by the students. We lead most of the practices. It's basically just student-led.
And I think that's important for them to take that kind of ownership.
If you want to be a musician, you gain extremely important music skills, music techniques.
1, 2, 3.
There's so many opportunities for fellowship, and band is a family. And you develop that small community. where you support each other, not only musically, but in many ways.
Really, without the band, the football games would be lame. Without the band, you wouldn't really have the pep rallies. The band is like a good foundation for school spirit. If you want to join band, just do it.
I think band was the best part of my high school career.
For more information about the Kappa program, visit ghskappa.com or call 755-7775. You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome back. Our last guests are taking Memphis teens to new heights, literally, by giving them a community of encouragement and empowerment. Joining me now is Nicole DeGrazia and Isaiah Henderson from Memphis Rocks. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
The founding of Memphis Rocks includes a Hollywood connection. Can you tell us about that connection?
Sure. Our founder is Mr. Tom Shadyac. He is the director of films like Bruce Almighty and The Nutty Professor. And he decided to open Memphis Rocks back in 2018. And yeah, that's how it all started.
Can you tell us your mission and how you're fulfilling it?
Absolutely. So our mission to Memphis Rocks, you join more than just a climbing gym. We are a community center disguised as a climbing gym, and we're bringing new hope and health to an underserved community here in South Memphis. And we have a lot of programs to facilitate this, and climbing in this case is just a metaphor for like overcoming obstacles in life. So climbing is not a competitive sport in like a traditional sense. We like to say we climb higher when we climb together, and that's what makes it such a powerful thing, because together we can reach the top, and together we can get to the top of that boulder or the end of that route, and we can also move forward in life.
In your mission, you all said, we exclude no one, regardless of the ability to pay. What does that mean to the community?
So climbing is traditionally a very niche sport, and we wanted to make sure that there are no barriers, especially not economic barriers, to access it. So regardless of people's inability to pay, we'll accept a gym. And we reinvented currency because we believe that everybody has something to give, and it doesn't necessarily need to be money. So if you can't pay, maybe you can volunteer your time and help. And so 5 volunteer hours equivalent of a monthly membership. So you help us for 5 hours a month, and you get access to our gym, yoga program, everything we have to offer. I think that makes Memphis so accessible to everyone.
Mr. Henderson, how did you start working at Memphis Rocks?
Funny story. I was walking home from school, and a guy came out of an abandoned building. He was all like, "Hey, are you here to check out the rock climbing gym?" Of course, I didn't even know what a rock climbing gym was at the time. So I looked at him crazy. I said, "Why not?"
What is it about rock climbing that pulled you in?
I feel like rock climbing is a humble sport. I don't have to worry about competition, and it is a stress reliever. And I do believe in we climb higher when we climb together. I'm climbing with Nicole. She's gonna uplift me on the way completing my project. And I'm gonna do the same for her.
Can you talk about the changes you see in people when they first step foot into your place and then they leave?
It's a big accomplishment. They realize, oh, I can do this. I just reached the top, and it's such a feeling really empowering, and also like the climbing community is very welcoming and encouraging, and people would just encourage you while you're climbing and say things like, "Oh, I'm proud of you," and just keep going, and that makes people smile and feel really good about themselves and the activity they just did.
Mr. Grazio, one of the cool things about Memphis Rocks is that you all take a trip outside of Memphis. What is the goal for this trip?
The goal is to expose youth from the community to the outdoors, and again, to make it accessible. We took kids on a trip that hadn't ever left Memphis, so that's exciting. And also, you know, out there in nature, and you feel just the silence and peace and quiet, get to for a moment and have a peaceful night outside. That is a really beautiful thing. And the other thing so beautiful is that you get to bond with your coworkers and with the Memphis Rocks team. So it's more than just a simple trip outside. There are a lot of things happening. It's magic.
Well, thank you both for doing this interview with me today.
Thank you for having us.
To get involved or learn more information about Memphis Rocks, visit their website at memphisrocks.org. That's all for Crosstalk. Once again, thank you to all of our guests who joined us today. I hope today's show highlighted all the great opportunities available to Memphis kids and teens. For more information on our programming, please check us out on the web at GHS-TV.org, where we are streaming live 24 hours a day. You can also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm Ternyce Anderson. From all of us here at GHS-TV, thank you for watching Crosstalk, and I hope to see you again.